Good morning, YouTube. This is Jim. I live in Texas, but today I'm in Vicksburg, Mississippi. In fact, I'm in the Vicksburg National Battlefield right now. And I'm sitting on the point that made Vicksburg such a strategic, an important strategic location in the whole Civil War. I don't have time in a short video to tell you the entire story of Vicksburg. Obviously, it's an epic story. But to put it on a bumper sticker, where I'm sitting, the Confederates had huge heavy artillery batteries. And they're on this high bluff. The river down there is the Mississippi River. So for the people in the north, in the northern industrial states, to communicate with manufactured goods and imports and exports, they had to, anything that they wanted to export either had to go over wagons or trains to the East Coast, or it had to come down barges and ships here in the Mississippi. Well, with the Confederates sitting up here with huge heavy artillery batteries, they couldn't use the Mississippi River, even though eventually, as the war progressed, they conquered everything south of here. The Unions control everything south of here and everything north of here. The Confederates would not give this location up. General Grant came down here and he spent several months on the other side of the river trying to figure out a way to crack this location. Finally, he went that way, went south, I think about 80 miles, crossed the Mississippi River down there, marched back up here and surrounded this place. They had a siege, and on I believe the 4th of July, 1836, the same day as or within a day of the Battle of Gettysburg, I know it was on July 4th, the Confederate forces finally surrendered because they were just completely surrounded and cut off and starving. But this is a beautiful location. The park is interesting. It's a long, windy road through the park. It's a very large park. I guess it's about a 10, maybe 6, 8, 10-mile road. It's very windy and twisty. You can't go through it like a squid. It's a park. People are jogging and walking their dogs and have their kids out. But it's a nice drive early in the morning. I came over to this side of the park to see the battleship Cairo, which you can't, or the gunboat Cairo, a recovered ironclad gunboat is over there. But I got here right at 8, and even though the park opens at 8, the gunboat doesn't open until 9:30. So that's a traveler's tip. So here I am. This is a Confederate heavy artillery position on in the Vicksburg National Memorial in Vicksburg, Tennessee. And right over here, if you'll excuse some camera jerk while I get back up. Right down there is the FGR that brought me all the way here from Austin, Texas. So this is Jim. I live in Texas, but today I'm in Vicksburg. Howdy again. This is Jim. And last time I spoke to you, I was up on that bluff up there. You can't really quite see it from here, but up in there. Now I'm down here at sort of a terrace level. And behind my FJR there is the gunboat USS Cairo. The Cairo was a Civil War ironclad steam-powered gunboat of the sort that went up and down the Mississippi and other rivers for the Union Army and Navy. I should give credit to the Squids. The Squids have the biggest the U.S. Navy has the biggest monument here. It's a miniature Washington monument. The park back up in there is just nothing but hundreds of monuments to individual units, both Confederate and and Union. And driving the perimeter of the park, not be a nice motorcycle ride in its own right, gives you a good idea, kind of the geography of what's involved here. Anyway, this boat tried to run the blockade. The blockade was run successfully several times. Running supply boats past it was the key to Grant's victory. Enabled him to go downriver, cross the river, and still get supplied. But it was extremely dangerous to run the batteries, to run this bend in the river here, and not everybody made it. And this gunboat was sunk, and I think raised in the 60s, sunk during the Battle of Vicksburg. So let's go inside the visitor center and get a park stamp and see if we can learn more about the gunboat Cairo. I'm in the visitor center of the USS Cairo's Visitor Center. These are all artifacts that were recovered from the wreck and restored. Forgive the low light because they don't want much light in here. It might fade and damage them. But it's interesting. They have shoes and boots and pipes and all kinds of just personal little items that that maybe give you a little better idea of what life was like. Look, there's a bosun's whistle. The bosun whistles on Star Trek had flashing lights. This is the raised USS Cairo. I want to correct one thing I said in an earlier video that's incorrect. This vessel was not sunk running the guns at Vicksburg. It was sunk by what we would call a mine, what they called a torpedo, as in damn the torpedoes full speed ahead. They were this boat was sunk by 2 electrically detonated mines in the Yazoo River on December 12th, 1862, and it was raised in 1964. And you can see there's quite a lot of the original ship here. Well, this is Jim. I'm in a visitor center at the Arkansas Post National Memorial, and an exhibit on the Battle of Arkansas Post, which was a Civil War battle here. They had constructed a star-shaped, the Confederates had constructed a star-shaped fort on the Arkansas River here, and the Union decided to take it. They had a pretty good-sized battle here. It's just well documented here in the museum, and you can read about it. The thing that was interesting to me, that surprised me, was, I don't know how this will show up, but this is a very faded Texas flag, and it says A.R. Semper Fidelis on it. And this flag was present at the Battle of Fort Heiman here, or the Battle of Arkansas Post. And the AR stands for Austin Rifles. And so this is a hometown unit from my home of Austin that was involved in this, defending this fort from the Yankees. And a Yankee took this flag away from them because the Confederates wound up surrendering. And his went down generation to generation. His family, and finally got donated back to the museum here. Yeah. I have to say, editorially speaking, I hope that if I had been around in those days, I would have supported Sam Houston and said, stay out of the war, don't secede. And once we went in, I'd hope I'd be with a large number of people from Texas who joined the northern side, the Union side, because I don't think we had any business pulling out of the United States. And the reasons why we did it are beyond the scope of this video, but they were stupid reasons. So I'm glad. Okay, this is Jim. This is the penultimate stop on my Labor Day National Parks tour. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I've gone 811.3 miles from home. And I'm now at the Arkansas Post National Memorial. I just finished sitting in there for about an hour and 20 minutes, kind of cooling off because it was not supposed to get this hot. So when I got here, I was feeling kind of warm, not feeling very good really overall, particularly with these pains in my shoulder. I may have mentioned in an earlier video, but I've had bad pain in both shoulder blades on this trip, which is unusual. It's happened to me before, but not on the bike. I don't know what's going on. Took a lot of the fun out of the ride. I rode up here from Vicksburg, about 160, 60, 70 miles, somewhere like that. And I'm going to at least ride to Texarkana tonight, I hope. That's 120 miles. If the pain gets too bad, I'll stop short. But I'm hoping that this nice long break they took in there, I took in there, sitting on their couch in their air-conditioned corner of the museum with nobody bothering me, will allow me to go this last 2.5, 3 hour run. The visit itself, Arkansas Post has a fascinating museum. It's not big, but it's a well done little museum. This is on a swampy river. Lots of plant life in the river. Hardly any people here, just a very few visitors. Only a couple were in there. I was in there, like I say, best part of an hour and a half. It's a beautiful park. It sure doesn't feel like 97 degrees. It feels cooler. Very quiet. I see lots of wildlife here. They have forest rats, a bunch of them. So I'm glad I didn't try to come in here at night. But anyway, now it's just a straight shot, Pine Bluff, then west to hit the interstate, then hopefully Texarkana tonight, then 300 miles tomorrow, and I'll be home. Day early. I had thought possibly of extending this trip another day and maybe going to Memphis or Little Rock. There's a nice park there I'd like to visit. But because of this pain thing that I just had, plus the weather is supposed to deteriorate, it's not going to be perfect like it is now, except for a little warm. I'm just decided to cut my losses and head home. So, this is Jim. I live in Texas, but right now I'm at the Arkansas Post National Memorial. But Texas, here I come.